Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the DevOps Europe conference, which this year, of course, is a virtual conference. So I'm the virtual Adrian Jones, and I'm joined by the virtual Justin Watts. I hope over the next 20 minutes, we will be able to provide some insights that will help you as you're looking to align software delivery with business value. And we're building on much of the experience that Justin has gained and is going through at the moment. So Justin, thanks very much for joining us. And I hope with this format, with the virtual format, you know, part of me is kind of wistfully harking back to the days of bad coffee and even worse croissant, avoiding eye contact for 2 or 3 days. But mostly I'm actually in awe at the ingenuity, the creativity, and the adaptability of the speed with which these types of conferences now work. And I really do hope that you'll get some value from this, despite the fact that physically we're in different places. So just briefly, my name's Adrian, and I run the Tasktop team here in EMEA. I've been with Tasktop for about 5 or 6 years, and I've been in the industry for many more than that. I've been fortunate to be involved with some of the leading thinking as the Agile movement got into the mainstream, and likewise also with many of the key founders and thought leaders in the DevOps movement. So I'm particularly pleased and feel honored to be a part of what is now the value stream management movement, where much of the thinking from people like Dr. Mick Kirsten in his book Project to Product, I have to plug him, by the way, because he's my boss, but also with people like Justin, just leading the charge at organizations like Lloyds Banking Group, are hugely important in defining the direction for this, for value stream thinking. So Justin, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, thanks very much. So I'm Justin Watts, and I haven't been around this type of stuff as long as Adrian.
Not many people have.
No. I have been involved in similar activity when we think about value stream management, if you like, or value stream improvement for a lot longer in different industries. So I started looking at these types of problems in manufacturing probably 20 years ago now, actually, which is quite surprising, really. And I fortunately actually landed in service environment in Lloyds 10 years ago, and eventually made my way into software delivery and ways of working and Agile and DevOps and Scrum and whatever else you want to throw in the mix, really. So but I'm in a nice, I would say, very fortunate, privileged position actually to be quite, leading, whatever you want to call it, a big portion of our transformation in Lloyds, and I'm responsible for the change methodologies and our focus on improving the value stream delivery, where, as you pointed out, the connection between our business and our software delivery, and actually making sure that it's as effective as it could be.
Right. Yeah, that's interesting. So when you moved from manufacturing to services, that must have been quite a move. And I guess if everybody was talking Agile and early days of DevOps in that, how did you square that particular circle with your background in system thinking?
Right. It was it came quite naturally because of my background in manufacturing, because when I was in manufacturing, I was dedicated in most of the roles to improving flow.
Right.
Lots of people were talking about lean manufacturing, but I was quite lucky in my role that we kind of got over the step of thinking about lean manufacturing as a set of tools to actually going back to first principles in terms of the relentless reduction, if you like, of waste in a system and improvement in flow. And you mentioned Mick there as that the value stream architect, if you like, but the original value stream architect in all of this was Taichuno, right? I mean, he was the guy who really started to look at the difference between mass production thinking and flow thinking, and came up with a total production system. So I think my background in manufacturing and the focus on flow set me up really well for the job I'm currently doing, but it didn't set me up very well for the job I started in Lloyds, which was looking at frontline services. And a lot of the mistakes in the service industry about applying lean manufacturing to service industry was something I was studying through Cardiff University and their lean program at the time, the Masters in Lean Enterprise. And I bumped into physically a guy called John Seddon, who was one of the teachers at the time, and obviously virtually in terms of his work. And what I was learning from John was, whatever you do, do not implement the tools and lean in a service environment because they don't work. And
okay.
They do not work. They do not work. And I learned a lot about his method, really, and the types of things like failure demand as a massive concept that, you know, most of our demanding service environments, traditional ones like call centers, are calls you shouldn't even be getting anyway because of the way the system responds to customers, the over standardization of services, for example. So I went through a massive learning curve to unlearn the things I'd learned around applying the lean tools, the service environment, and thinking about it completely different, predominantly from the customer's perspective, and how to design services that worked for the customer. So I went through a real process of learning a lot of things from John. Now, the thing that counterintuitively, the thing I learned most from John was actually what lean was really about, even though he told me it was rubbish from a service perspective.
From a service point of view, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way that he then articulated what needed to be done from a service perspective, from those principles, was very much going back to the principles that owner was trying to achieve